Hi, everybody, and welcome to Lab 6 for Physics 1106. Okay, so this lab requires your lab kit, and it is a lab where you're going to have to kind of figure out how to measure the index of refraction of your block. So this is what your block looks like, just sort of a glass block. Actually, a lot of people will have it's plastic, but if you do have a glass one, be careful because they certainly can shatter. You'll need the glass block. You'll need your laser pointer, which some of you have that may look like this really small thing here. And you'll need a protractor and probably a ruler too, which you also have in your lab kit. Okay, let's take a look at the manual real quick. Okay, so here's the lab manual. So it gives you a reference, but you can actually just type in index of refraction and look it up on the web. And if your course has not gotten there yet. Okay. So this is the whole point the whole point of this is that you know that say you look at a straw going down through a glass of water, that the straw looks like it's bent, right? That's because you have light that's going from air into water, and water has a different index of refraction. So notice here that in this little diagram, we have air and then going into glass. Now, if you don't have a glass block, it's polyurethane most likely. So when you're done figuring out what the index of refraction of this is, which tells you how much the light bends, right? See how these angles are different? That you would be able to look up and see if you got, close to the actual value. So you do have to determine whether you have a glass block or a polyurethane block. I think you'll be able to tell. Okay, so the idea here is to measure these angles using the laser pointer as your incident light. Okay, now this manual basically tells you to figure out how to do this experiment yourself. And I will just tell you a little cheat here, a little hint, and that is that you can find all kinds of YouTube videos about how to do this. Okay. But what you're going to be using is this equation. So we know that we are going to assume here that you can just go look up what the index of refraction, N1, is for air. It's easy to look that up on Google, so we're going to assume that's known. Okay, so what you have to measure are this initial angle, which you set by setting where your laser pointer is pointing. And then you need to measure this angle, right? So once you do that, you can use the equation here, right, to solve for N2, which may or may not be glass, right? It might be polyurethane, depending on your lab kit. Okay. You need to figure out how to do that to get a 90% confidence interval, right? Which means you probably have to do several measurements. Okay. So you need to figure that out. Again, I would Google this experiment because I think you can find some good ideas about how to do it. And let's take a look here at, this is a formal written report. So remember that means I expect a good purpose. I expect you to tell me some sources of error and whether they're random or systematic, etc. Right? Okay. And don't forget that 90% confidence interval. All right, well, good luck with this, and be careful if you do have a glass block.